that's been a thing where it's been like, do I want to go? Do I not? Do I want to go? Do I not? And I thought, well, if I don't go, I might regret it. If I do go, it might be the best thing ever. So we bit the bullet,
Yeah,
literally.
and these are the things that people like um for example saying that the one thing that usually like I also experience, and then also like people saying it to me that that it's now it's easy for you because you've done everything right, and I'm like, no, I'm living in on the same planet as you are. I having similar obstacles as you, because we are like as a collective. I just decided to make my life simpler in a way. I decided to shift my focus that what I have and what I want to have instead of what I don't want to have or I don't want to be. And yes, I have more time because I'm not worrying, I'm not counting, I'm not, being jealous, I'm not, and not like it's a normal thing to, I think, do or be in a certain way when we are learning our way through life, because that's why we are here. That's basically the whole purpose, I think, as a human being, to come and become family. It's like if you go to a shopping center and you want to know which aisle is which one, you have to go through the aisles and say, oh, I know this is the aisle of soups, this is the aisle of bread, this is the fresh aisle. But if you just, it's the same thing with your life. You need to understand that which aisle is which, and which one that you want to use and which you want to change, or even the environment that you live in. It's also the same thing in the body. If you don't feel comfortable, it's your choice whether you're changing it and transforming it or not. But pointing at things and blaming things outside of you, it's not going to really change things. It's just going to amplify those things that you don't want, or it's not good for you. But thank you so much, Ruth, for sharing that.
It's all right.
That is really,
Anytime.
really
I was I was just going to go back to what Rakesh was saying about glasses. I didn't used to wear glasses at all when I was younger, and then about 11 years ago, I started having to wear them for the computer, and I didn't really notice any difference up until about 6 years ago. And then I would take my glasses off and I couldn't see anything in front of me.
Mm.
And now I have to have glasses for everything.
Mm.
So, and it literally, when you make the decision to focus and look at things differently, it is like putting on glasses, and it's like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, where have I been?
Oh, it's like, it's right in front of me. It's right in front of
it's
me.
there.
Yeah.
And that's a brilliant analogy. I love it.
Yeah,
I just love it.
I think this is why, if you look at our stories, like we all go through suffering, and it shapes us into who we are. And I think it's inescapable, a bit like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly, or someone carving a beautiful piece of art out of a block of wood or a block of clay. It's a process, right? And I think as humans, we're all, going back to your question, what are we as humans? I think a human being it's a live thing.
Mm.
It's a process, and we go through a growth process. And for me, I believe, whether it's true or not, but I like to think it is that we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and our spirit is gathering the experience of each lifetime that we have, whether we have multiple or not. I like to think that it's true. It's quite a nice romantic story.
I think, yeah, because I was, when I was 11, I was a huge fan, and now I understand why. I was at the age of 11. What do you do? Like, right? You go to school and you hang out with friends. No, Brie was watching Matrix with Keanu Reeves. Not like one part that because she was in love with Keanu Reeves, obviously, but the other part was the intense interest towards that. What did I just watch? Like, something like that movie triggered me so much at the age of 11. I didn't understand why. And now like 20 years back, I was like, oh my God, I'm literally training and coaching people to change their, like, to not change it, but transform their subconscious, to tap into who they are, to question everything, to, and, and, you know, when you realize, I was like, oh my God, like, it doesn't really happen just by, you know, by chance, that at the age of 11, without you knowing, when your mom says or your dad says, please don't watch it again because it's not in your age group, or when you're, you know, it's just something that you think back, I was like, oh my God, that's why I had to watch it. That's why I was obsessed with it, because now it led me to somewhere. But just imagine if I say no to watching it ever again. And imagine if I'm not as stubborn and say to my friends that, you know what, I'm not talking to you because you don't like it. What if I just like drop the whole concept of me being interested in like what I'm interested in and led by outside influence completely, I wouldn't be, you know, that person. So when you said that, yes, we are spiritual beings in human like in human bodies and like experiencing human experience, I truly believe that. And that's why deja vu is a big thing for me. When it comes to deja vu, I'm like, I'm pretty sure that it's not me who experienced this before, but let's say like my other, whoever I'm, whatever, um self from the, I don't know, previous life of like 2 or lifetimes or 3 lifetimes or 100 lifetimes, you know, before. So I cannot put my finger on this, but I think these are just like impulses that go through you, like energies, and you're like, whoa, it sounds like, it feels familiar, but not for me. It's just something within me that reacts to those things. And I sometimes just, and now I'm just like sitting with it and not thinking about it, just feeling it through. It's like when you say to yourself that, oh, actually, time traveling is real. Is real. It's within you, basically. But I love the
Like,
fact. Huh?
there's one of my favorite teachers. He's called Bashar. He talks about us being, if you imagine like a mirror, and that the mirror's in a single piece, but when it's smashed, it ends up in little fragments. Or even if it's glass, it ends up in little fragments, and each of us is like a fragment that makes up the whole. So in a way, we are whole. It's just that there's these apparent separations between us. I mean, for me, the metaphor fails a little bit, but I kind of get what he's saying. But we're all equal in that sense, and without us being who we are, yeah, there's a gap, there's a missing piece, and that's why we exist. We exist because we're all as equally important as each other. And what we do, what we think, what we say, what we speak, and everything that we go through is us. I think it's changing moment to moment, and that's what makes life beautiful, because it's a living, breathing, single organism, if you like, if you want to look at it like that. That's how I like to look at it. And it just brings me a lot of, I just see things in a different light. When I see people, I've started to see them as all part of my family, and that what I do to another is what I'm doing to myself. So I change my practice, my work, the way I, you know, as you know, Brie, I do. So Ruth, I don't charge. I do pay as you feel. Yeah. So for me, it's like, right, how do I want to treat my own family? So I've just got, and I've started changing, you know, pretty much everything that I do based on that view. So again, another reason why I think understanding who am I and understanding that we're all one is key. And I think this is what will lead to like a new society being born. I think we're living through the age, I've heard it said before from other teachers, the age of love, where we're transforming our consciousness. And then this is like a pivotal moment in human evolution where the next generation will experience a more interconnected, more loving, harmonious society and planet.
Yeah. And it's like it's the like I read something like maybe today, or even like I'm feeling those energies that like maybe like you also like felt it, but it's like it's been a big shift, because this month is about like the 6 is representing this balance, and it's like exchange, like giving and receiving. So also like in this month, obviously this is the last day of June, and all this month was about balancing dark and light, balancing masculine, feminine, balancing everything that is basically you are, or you're doing, or you want to achieve in a way that it's going to benefit you, and then putting you into a position of self, which is the next month, because the 7 represents connecting and elevating. It's all about self, but in every certain aspect. And in June, I believe it was like still June, I went through a it's a really cute story. I was put on a path of like, I had to learn unconditional love, and not had to, but, you know, like just experience some sort of way. And, you know, like we think that, oh, we know how to love, but you realize that you never really knew how to actually love, because until the point when you realize that, oh, I just learned self-love. So when I thought that I'm in love, or when I love, that was actually not it, not the actual love that we haven't reached. And then when I reached a certain self-love, like the high level of self-love, then unconditional love can take over, because again, that's another level. Anyhow, the main point is, I was going through ego deaths like a lot, and like surrendering and letting go. And I'm a control freak, like I've always been in my whole life, and I'm more masculine. And my friend asked me to look out for her dog. And I usually look out for her dog for a day or for a few hours. And she was like, no, I'm going away for a week. I'm like, oh boy, I have to move there, and I have to be with that little dog for a week. I'm like, well, and you know, like she's in the house, so my dog here is out there, so just like, it's different. And I'm like, okay, fine. And she's that kind of cuddly dog, like she's a small kind of dog. I was like, okay, fine. And basically that week had to come into my, and I didn't want to accept it, but then I was like, I'm not doing really anything that I can, you know, work from anywhere, so why not? I'm gonna go and take care of the dog. And that week completely transformed in a way that I was shouting at a dog sometimes, like, why are you coming to me? Like, why are you? And I'm like, oh my God, she's trying to teach me unconditional love. And the best way that you can learn unconditional love, who's been practicing unconditional love from the really first time that that creature was born. And which is the best thing? It's a dog, because that's all he or she knows. And I think the first, like the second day, I was like, oh my God, I'm literally yelling at you because you're trying to love me the way that you can. And I'm yelling at you because I'm not willing to receive it. I'm like, wait a second. And from there, I shifted. Every time that I was annoyed by her love, I sat down and instead of yelling at her, I received it. I took 5 minutes, I cuddled, and it was, oh my God, it was difficult. It was challenging, and it was difficult for me to receive that. And that's where it just came through, was like, we don't really understand that how powerful love is once that we realize that how much that we actually reject those kind of pure love. And everyone else and everything else has a different definition and different love language in a way. And I'm like, whoa, that was the whole, like, love as a definition and love as an act of like love, completely like, I look at everything that, oh, that was love. Oh, that was love. Oh, that was love. And you wouldn't say it's love because you define it in a different way, but everything started to become love. And after a week, all of my friendships, relationships transformed into a way that I didn't see as toxic. I didn't see toxic. I didn't say toxic. And all of my friendships and relationships completely transformed into like a loving kind of thing. It was an amazing 2-week, like transformational wise, and like, okay, so this is love. Okay, now I understand. Thank you very much.